What if Earth froze, almost entirely? 445 million years ago, our planet entered one of the deadliest ice ages in history. It wiped out most life in the oceans. But without it, you wouldn't exist. Before the world froze, Earth was a very different place. 445 million years ago, the planet was warm, stable, and dominated by vast oceans. Life had not yet conquered the land. There were no trees, no animals walking on solid ground, and no birds in the sky. Almost every living thing existed beneath the surface of shallow seas. These oceans were bursting with life. Trilobites crawled across the seafloor like armored insects. Brachiopods filtered nutrients from the water. Coral-like reefs formed massive underwater cities, supporting countless species. Early fish, some with primitive jaws, swam through clear, sunlit waters. Sea levels were incredibly high. Much of today's land was submerged under warm, tropical seas. Continents were clustered near the equator, soaking up heat from the sun. The climate had remained relatively stable for millions of years, allowing ecosystems to grow complex and diverse. This was a golden age for marine life. Predators and prey existed in balance. Food chains were strong. Evolution moved slowly, refining life rather than reinventing it. For organisms living at the time, the oceans must have seemed eternal, unchanging and safe. But beneath this calm surface, forces were already moving. The planet's continents never stopped drifting. And one massive landmass, Gondwana, was slowly migrating south. This silent journey would set off a chain reaction that life on Earth had never experienced before. The world looked peaceful. But it was approaching a breaking point. When the Ice Age arrived, it reshaped the planet. Massive glaciers spread across southern continents, some stretching for thousands of kilometers. Sea levels dropped by more than 300 feet. Entire continental shelves were exposed, turning once living oceans into barren wastelands. For marine life, this was a nightmare. Most species lived in shallow coastal waters where sunlight could reach the seafloor. These areas supported reefs, plankton, and food chains. But as the oceans receded, these habitats vanished. Temperature changes added another layer of stress. Cold water holds more oxygen, but rapid cooling disrupts circulation. Nutrients stopped flowing properly. Ecosystems began to collapse. Animals that couldn't migrate died where they lived. Others followed the retreating seas, crowding into smaller and smaller areas. Competition increased. Food became scarce. Survival became brutal. The planet was no longer forgiving. What made this extinction especially deadly was its speed. Geological time moves slowly, but biological systems can fail quickly. Species that had thrived for millions of years vanished in a geological instant. The Earth had entered its first known mass extinction. And life was losing. This was the moment Earth's history changed forever. More than 85% of marine species disappeared. Entire branches of the evolutionary tree were erased. Reef systems collapsed. Trilobites, once dominant, were reduced to a fraction of their former diversity. Brachiopods and filter feeders vanished in staggering numbers. The oceans grew quiet. Food webs snapped apart. When plankton declined, everything above them followed. Predators starved. Scavengers vanished. Ecosystems that had taken millions of years to build collapsed in thousands. This wasn't just death, it was erasure. There were no forests to regrow. No land animals to inherit the planet. Life existed almost entirely in the sea, and the sea was failing. Yet extinction is not random. Some species survived because they lived deeper, where temperatures were more stable. Others survived because they could tolerate cold, low oxygen, or scarce food. These survivors would define the future. But at the time, there was no future in sight. Earth had become a hostile world. And then, just as slowly as it began, the ice started to melt. As Earth warmed, glaciers retreated. Sea levels rose again, flooding the continents and restoring shallow seas. On the surface, it looked like recovery. But beneath the waves, a new crisis was unfolding. Melting ice released enormous amounts of fresh water into the oceans. This disrupted circulation patterns, preventing oxygen from mixing properly. Vast areas of the ocean became oxygen-poor, dead zones where few organisms could survive. This triggered a second extinction wave. Creatures that survived the freezing now faced suffocation. Once again, ecosystems collapsed. But eventually, stability returned. Ocean circulation normalized. Oxygen levels rose. New habitats formed. Life, battered but not broken, began again. Extinction clears space. With competitors gone, survivors spread into empty ecosystems. Evolution accelerated. New adaptations appeared, stronger shells, better movement, improved feeding strategies. Fish diversified. Some developed jaws, giving them a massive advantage. Predators became more efficient. Prey evolved defenses. Life did not return to what it was. It became something new. This reset laid the foundation for the next explosion of diversity. The rules had changed. And so had the winners. Every future form of complex life traces back to this moment. By reshaping marine ecosystems, the Ordovician extinction redirected evolution. Vertebrates rose. Eventually, animals moved onto land. Without this extinction, dominant species may never have changed. No dinosaurs. No mammals. No humans. Our existence is tied to catastrophe. Earth's climate is powerful, and fragile. Small shifts can trigger unstoppable chains of change. Life survives, but never unchanged. The past is not a warning of extinction. It is a warning of transformation. 445 million years ago, Earth froze. And in doing so, it chose the path that led to us. The greatest disasters do not just end life. They decide what comes next. If you want to understand how Earth's past is shaping our future, subscribe to the channel. Because the next chapter of this story is still being written. One ancient climate shift changed everything. Do you think life today could survive something like this again? Let me know in the comments.